The No Money But Dreams podcast is for those millennial dreamers.
who try to be in the top 1%.
It doesn't matter what we've achieved.
We wake up every morning with the mindset that we're still broke,
We welcome you on our journey in search of that home run.
which can change everything.
Everything?
Everything.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the NMBD podcast, No Money But Dreams. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about a really interesting topic called nothing to lose, which is, in our opinion, a mindset which allows you to risk it all to make it big. So, in order to get everything that you ever dreamed of, Tarek, what do you think you need to be willing to do, and what kind of mindset do you have to have in order to get there? Or do you apply?
Yeah, I mean, we're very different, and I hope we'll get that across in this episode of how we apply this. But I've seen this with you, that you've got a nothing to lose mindset, and I definitely also have it. And yeah, it will be interesting to talk about it. So for me, it means to literally put everything on the line.
Which you do.
Something that freaks you out completely. I don't keep any money in the bank.
That's crazy, man.
I don't keep any money in the bank. I'm fully invested all the time. I already have things that I want to invest in before I even have the money, right? So for me,
You just like have a never-ending pipeline of places to invest
yeah,
and opportunities.
yeah. And for me, that, you know, from my background and upbringing, I came up and we always had everything that we needed to. My parents made sure of that, but we didn't, you know, have huge sums of money, right? And so it's the first time that really
You've had excess cash flow or capital to
Exactly.
make bigger investments.
coming to Dubai. At some point now, I'm in a part of my career where for the first time I actually have some money to invest. And this is one of the lessons that you need to understand anyways, is that if you don't have the money to invest, then, you know, you can have all the mindset that you want, you won't be able to act on it, right? So you got to get money first. Once you have money and nothing to lose, then can mean a number of different things. For me, it means being fully invested and trying to put everything on the line to at some point make it big. And what does it mean to you?
For me, the nothing to lose itself, for me, is two things. Number one, this insatiable innate fear in me of being average. Like, I cannot stand the idea of being average. And secondly, it's freedom. I'm willing to think about putting everything on the line and saying that I have absolutely nothing to lose in order to secure my freedom. And freedom for me means being able to do whatever I want to do when I want to. And nobody being able to tell me that I can't, and nobody questioning it, asking me why or anything like that. And I actually have problems inside my relationships with my friends and my wife regarding like not being very specific about what I'm doing, because I've spent the past 7, 8 years of my life building the foundations of being able to do this. And it's so important. And I've only been able to get to this point because I had nothing to lose. Every single thing I make, I'm willing to put in to build this moat or this security around me where I have freedom 24/7.
Yeah, it'd be hilarious if you applied for a job and you had a manager and he told you what to do and you just couldn't cope with it.
I literally cannot stand people telling me what to do. I hate it. And I even go into investments, or I get business partners. And every time I do, like when I'm told to do something, I'm just like, okay, sure. Yeah, that's a great idea. I'll do that. No problem.
And you walk away.
It's not
and
that I
don't do it.
want to be the boss. It's not that I want to be the boss, but I'm just so used to being able to do whatever I want to do and not having to really ask for the permission from other people. And that's kind of shaped who I am. Now, from a risk appetite perspective, I think we kind of differ a little bit. And I think that's interesting to kind of dig into that and sort of talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, risk appetite for me, as I said, I'm fully invested. That's kind of like from a monetary perspective, because I know at the end of the month, I've got a paycheck coming in, and it continues coming in. And even if I lose whatever I've invested, I have confidence in myself that I can make it back.
Yeah.
I can always get another job. I can always progress some way or another to make back what
And that's from your previous life experiences, obviously. Like you've always figured out when you have put everything on the line, you've already always found a solution to make sure that you get that paycheck at the end.
Yeah, I
of the
mean,
month.
you fall on your face a couple of times, but you just get back up and try again. What does risk? I mean, risk in my life looks a lot different to risk in your life.
Yeah.
I risk my job, or I risk
Your salary.
my salary, right?
Yeah.
But you've got so much more risk in your day to day compared to me.
Yeah.
So how does that then translate in what you do with your money?
I think that really differs on a lot of points. And one of the main points there is because you know that you have a fixed amount of money which is coming into your bank account at the end of every month, you feel more comfortable to take higher risk. And we've seen that in some of the questionable investments that you've made and the people who have come to you with investment ideas and who you've invested in. On my side, there is not that security. I'm not guaranteed a certain amount of money in my bank account at the end of every month. So I have to keep a buffer, not only in the business, but as an individual, I need to keep a buffer in case everything goes south, which, for example, we've spoken about it before in other episodes. But when the pandemic came, if I didn't have a buffer of money in order for a rainy day, then I would have been in a bad spot.
I mean, your business would have faltered.
100%.
Yeah.
So because of that, my risk appetite, I would say, is a little less more risk adverse than you in a lot of ways.
The other thing that is also very different is that you invest all your money into yourself.
Yeah.
And into growing your own business.
See that? Yeah, exactly. So now, for example, I'm willing to have a nothing to lose mentality and invest all my money in a new branch of Burger 28 because I have proof of concept. I know that I control it, and I know that I'll figure out a way for it to work. But there's a huge risk also that it doesn't work. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, okay. And then on the other side, I sit here and, I work in the corporate world. I haven't really ever invested in myself with a significant kind of amount.
Yeah, you're investing in other people.
I invest in other people. And that kind of brings us to the next point of trusting people. And, you can achieve, to make it big, whatever that means to you in a number of different ways. How does trusting people, what does that mean to you? And how are you exposed in your journey to make it big with trusting other people?
I mean, in general, it takes a lot for me to trust somebody. I don't just trust people off the cuff. Everybody talks and says A, B, C, D, F, G. I know this person, I know that person. For me, it goes in one ear and out the other. Whereas I know that there's a lot of other people who eat up this kind of information and, oh, he knows this person, or he's done this, he's done this. For me, I am always like on the back heel when it comes to that. People who have to talk too much or boast too much or pretend that a name drop all the time, for me, like these people directly, there's a red flag.
Yeah.
So I think it takes a lot for me to trust somebody.
Yeah.
But I do believe that everybody has good intentions. I'm not saying that they don't have good intentions, but people morph the truth so much. You need to take everything with a pinch of salt sometimes. And I think that definitely comes into when you're choosing which investments to go into and
I'm definitely
decisions.
I'm definitely a lot more trusting, and have gone into a number of investments where I've trusted someone way too early and given them money, thinking that they have a similar mindset to us and a similar work ethic and how they apply themselves, and have fallen on my face. But this brings a really interesting aspect into it where I think, I'm going to take 10, 20 different bets on people or on specific opportunities. And I know that, if, let's say, out of 10, 2 or 3 work out, I will pay back all the other 7, 8 investments which didn't work out and more. And
But you wouldn't be able to do that if you didn't have this mentality that I have nothing to lose.
yeah, exactly. I would be a lot more hesitant and overthink things of whether I should invest or not. Obviously, I do my research and stuff, but like retrospectively, I can say that, you know, out of the 5, 6, 7, 8 investments that I've done, there were definitely 2 or 3 where I went in way too early. But looking at the track record so far, you know, there's still a few out there and decisions to be made whether they will be successful or not. And then there's a few that failed and a few that worked out. So in my mind, and this is really what I learned from the financial markets, right? I don't look at any single opportunity as the one that is going to really change my life. It's just another bet. It's
Yeah.
just another idea that I'm chasing, and that's different. And yeah, luckily I am in the position to be able to do that. And I guess everyone listening has to decide, like, where do I sit on the spectrum? Am I more like Alex, who wants to invest in himself and into his own kind of opportunity, or are you more like someone that is looking for other opportunities, like, you know, putting a smaller amount on Angel List or on all these kind of seeders, all these different kind of platforms that are out there that can help you do angel investing? Or do you start your own kind of business? There's lots of different opportunities that you can be chasing. It's just, you know, realizing for yourself, where do I sit on the spectrum and how do I want to try and make it big? And trying to make it big, it sounds that it means a lot, has a lot to do with money. But really, like for you and I, where we then come together, it's freedom, right? It's
Yeah.
freedom of how you can spend your time and what you can be
You
pursuing.
being able to choose how to spend your time.
Exactly. And that's,
100%.
but how, you know, at the end of the day, how can you actually achieve that?
Yeah.
You can only achieve it if you've got a certain amount of wealth and a certain amount of, you know, lifestyle that you want to have to be able to go after this. And I think a lot of our kind of decisions and thought process, you know, we have been doing this for a number of years together now, comes from our upbringing and how different our upbringing is. And that has influenced a lot of our mentality.
Definitely. I mean, I grew up in a household in Abu Dhabi. Both my parents were entrepreneurs. I was exposed to discussions about banks, taking loans, HR issues, accounting, sales, and all the topics which come into a discussion about business when my parents would come home and we would have dinner. So I was definitely exposed to what it was like to be like an entrepreneur, exposed to investments and how you can make your money grow.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have any of that. I came home and from as early as I can remember, 12 years old, I was writing the invoices for my dad. I was traveling on the train 2 hours every day. I was helping wherever I could. There was never a weekend. We were always trying to keep the family business alive and trying to get to the next kind of level. So we were similar in that aspect, but it taught us completely different things. And the risk appetite that we have today is very much informed by our upbringing. The interesting part is then, okay, so now your dreams and my dreams are much bigger than what our parents have achieved.
100%.
Right? And that really drives our kind of decisions and how we apply ourselves, how we apply our money to try and make it to the next level.
Yeah. I think also the idea is that if we want to achieve more than our parents did, that we have to risk it all at some point. There's a point in time where you're going to have to say, okay, I'm all in. And I think if you don't have a mentality that you have nothing to lose, then you can't make that choice when the time is right to say, you know what, I'm all in. All in for you means investing all your salary because you know it's going to come back at the end of next month. And that's an endearing thing to do. Not a lot of people can say, you know what, I'm going to take these are the number, this is the amount of money I make at the end of the month, for example, X. And I'm willing to divide that into small different portions and make a bunch of bets. Because I know if one of those are going to hit, that's actually going to be taking me to a next level or bigger level than where I am right now. From my perspective, I don't have that guarantee of the salary. But by the same token, I believe in myself. And I'm willing to put everything and risk everything on the line to open another Burger 28. And that's what happens. Every time I open, I expand. And every single year I've been expanding. except for 1 year, I think. Once I've opened that store, like, I'm broke. I'm really at the end of the tether. If that store doesn't work, I'm gone. But because I put myself in that situation, I risk it all. I find a solution.
Mm.
I figure out how to make sure that there's footfall in that store. And I won't sleep until it does happen. And that sense of urgency is what keeps me driving to innovate, which keeps me driving coming to work, showing up every single day and making it a success. So I think that those are two different sides, two different upbringings. You're in the corporate, I'm an entrepreneur, but then there again is that overlap, definitely.
Yeah. So now maybe we'll go into like a couple more smaller points. I want to talk about competition, because if you want to make it, at some point you're going to face competition, whether it's yourself or other people in the corporate world, in my kind of environment, that are competing for the same kind of success that you're going after, right? How do you deal with competition?
For me, I look at competition as a great thing, number one. And I think that I'm the best. And I tell myself that, and not everyone might think that that's the case, but there's no other way to think. How is there any other benefit but to think, how am I going to be the best?
So are you competing with yourself, or are you competing with others?
I'm 100% competing with myself. And that's the same thing like going to the gym, which I love, is that it's you against the weights. In this situation, it's me against my future success, me against my dreams. And you wake up every morning, and we come back to the name of this podcast. You wake up broke. This mentality that I have nothing. By the end of the day, I'll have more than I had yesterday. If I grind as hard as I can, if I look at every single opportunity I can, if I am the best version I can be and work as hard as I can. And I can't do more than that on a daily basis. But I know for sure, if I didn't have that mentality, if I wasn't able to risk it all, if I didn't think like, okay, if I woke up comfortable every morning in my head, even though I am comfortable, thank God I have food, I have a house, I have a car, I have everything I could want, a beautiful wife, I have everything, a healthy family. But I still wake up thinking, no, I need more, and I need more success. I need more, drive. You can't have that drive if you're comfortable. So if you're not putting yourself in uncomfortable positions, which generally is like, at the end of the day, you're used to it. You've become accustomed to it. But for somebody else to hear that you spend your whole salary at the end of the month on investments, that would freak people out, completely out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, but you're saying this as if like I'm insane. Like I didn't get to this point without taking risks, right? I invested in you, and then I invested in a number of different kind of people that have now allowed me to have a passive income stream that isn't related to my salary. So now I see my salary as a vehicle to kind of get to the next level and get more passive income streams. And I'm willing to invest all of it. It doesn't all go into high risk kind of investments. Some go into real estate, some go into other things. But I am investing every single penny, every single month, because I believe if I continue doing this for a number of years, at the end, I'll be much better off.
100%. And it's paying off, clearly.
The jury is still out, but we'll see. At the end, hopefully, I would have made the right decisions. Maybe we'll bring it to kind of like the conclusions and what we want people to kind of take away from it. So what's a really important thing for you with a nothing to lose mindset that people need to understand?
I think as an entrepreneur, if you have a business which is working, you have proof of concept, you have customers, then you need to double down on it and really invest as much money as you can to grow that business in the shortest time possible. I think that is critical, and you can't do that if you're not willing to risk it all. Take all the profits of last year, invest it to open another 2 shops, which is what I've been doing year on year for the past 5 years. What about on your side?
For me, it was a really, I wanted to make it bigger, right? And I realized that I can't take advantage of the opportunities that I want to take advantage of if I don't have a bigger tab, if I don't make more money to then be able to deploy more.
You wouldn't be able to make the same number of bets if you didn't have more cash, basically.
Exactly.
So you need to focus on making the cash to make the bets.
Exactly. Creating more opportunities all depends on actually having the cash to deploy.
And at the end of the day, the end goal is freedom.
Yeah, and that freedom is more important to me than the money that I made this month or last month, because I want to look back and I don't want to like be in the corporate world till I'm, I don't know, 65 plus years old.
Yeah.
I want to shortcut this in a way and allow myself to work on whatever I want to work on, and any kind of country that I want to work on, and
Pure
that's,
freedom.
yeah, pure freedom, and that's something that I'm chasing. You know, potentially I would have part of it already, and I feel like now I'm working on stuff in my day to day in my job that I'm actually really interested in, and I get a lot of value out of it. I learn a lot. But at the end of the day, at some point, you know, I come from an entrepreneurial background, you come from an entrepreneurial background, and I know that I will end up doing something that where I go 100% all in, like you described earlier. You know,
Yeah.
to really make it big, at some point you just got to bet on yourself.
Yeah. 100. You need to go all in on yourself, 100%.
Exactly.
And I think the key takeaway there is to earn real freedom, you need to be able to risk it all at one point or another. Um, I think if you're not open to the idea of having nothing to lose, then you can't put it all on the line. You can't risk everything. That's a critical part of it.
Yeah, and people should walk away and think about, you know, where am I on the spectrum? Am I someone that likes to put everything on the line? Am I too cautious? You know, there's so many people that don't want to, like, they're successful in their own field. They're a lawyer,
Yeah.
they're an artist or something,
Yeah.
but they never think about their money.
Yeah.
You know, they put it in the bank, or they buy a house because that's what everyone tells them to do,
Yeah.
instead of actually thinking, okay, how can I deploy this money to make me more at the end? And how can I not run the rat race and continue running, and at the end of the month you don't actually have anything to show for?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can, the pandemic showed a lot of people that you can get rid of in a number of minutes. You know, you can just be gone,
Yeah.
and all your hard work and blood, sweat, and tears that you've put into something
Vanishes.
just gone.
Yeah.
Because so that's an something that people should think about. Should I take more risk? Should I put more on the line to kind of protect myself? Because that false sense of safety of being in a corporate job and you're going to get money at the end of the month, that's wrong.
Yeah. It's not a reality.
Depending just on one income stream is really dangerous, actually.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a small family, and if someone took that paycheck away from me, it would get a lot more uncomfortable. And that's why I'm so driven to put everything on the line and to have multiple different income streams, because
Yeah.
I know that if someone wants to kick me out, it just goes like this.
Yeah.
You know, I remember, and I will never forget this. In one of the companies that I worked for, there was someone that had worked there for 25 years, from entry level to all the way to the CEO position. And he did 1, 2 things that the board didn't agree with, and he was out the door. And I
Yeah.
could never believe that someone that was basically part of the furniture was just kicked out like this.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And that opened my eyes, and I really took that to heart. And I never want to be in a position like that, where someone else has that much power over you to just decide the fate of you in some kind of organization. I know that you can't relate to that, but you know how hard it is to grind every single day to try and invest in yourself and make it big on your journey.
For sure. Definitely. So in conclusion, I think everybody has their own journey.
Yep.
They need to see where they are on the spectrum as far as their appetite of risk is concerned. But I think no one achieved their dreams by not once or twice or multiple times risking everything or putting everything on the line in order to double down or to take advantage of a new opportunity or to do whatever it is that needs to take place. And you can't do that unless you admit that you have nothing to lose.
Yep.
Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. And thank you so much for those of you who stayed to the end. Stay tuned for our next episode. Take care. Peace.
Peace.